What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Wealth Not Wait. We're doing a new thing today. We are starting our podcast, also known as Tik Tok. Not TikTok, but Tik Tok. But first, let's introduce our guest, our first ever podcast guest, a gentleman who needs no introduction. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
My name is Joe Coizza Sr. I am Joe's dad. Here today to be quizzed and speak frankly on whatever he's going to ask me.
Beautiful. Okay, so today the big thing, as you know, I do because I do Wealth Not Wait, again, as you know.
Yeah.
I hear you're a big fan of mine.
Of course.
So, but the whole thing is because I like to talk a lot about finances, I like to talk about money, and get a lot of perspectives from just people in general. A lot of how I learned, as I told you about, and as you read in the book, first ever copy of the purchase of the book was Dad. You know, you always have to have the good support. The whole thing is that I like learning from other people, especially from like people who have done things that you do before. I'm a big person on not listening to people who haven't done the things you have before, but you've been in business for yourself for quite a while. You had a lot of businesses, obviously the restaurant and everything. So I was curious on some of your information, some kind of stuff, and just picking your brain about entrepreneurship, finances, just general things that we discuss on the show.
That works. Pick away.
Yeah. So just a little bit, tell us about, I know why you're a good source for it. Just tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial history. What's like some of the work that you've done, some stuff like that.
Well, I started out many years ago working for my father, like as you.
Yeah.
I started working for my dad in the flooring business. I started when I was 12 years old. Worked there every day, went there after school, went there, on weekends, worked at nights, worked every day till, some crazy hours, and like I said, worked weekends, every off day, every day was a day to work at the store. And as we got older, I got to my own point. I wanted to branch out on my own. I started my own carpet cleaning, floor waxing, carpet installation business.
Right.
Did that for many, many, many years. Okay, and then of course I was very successful doing that for myself. Able to do everything we needed to be, supporting life. And then from that, we moved to Florida down here, and then I worked for a big company down here. Worked for them for 9 years. Okay, ran their whole installation department. Went from starting at like 15 million a year. When I left, we were doing 29 million a year. And of course, went to the restaurant business. Got a little bored with the flooring, and I couldn't go any further where I was with that company.
Right.
And got to the food business. Food business was very good business for 6 years. We did very well. We worked hard. You worked. Your brother worked. Your mom worked with us, and we started a nice little family business. Right. Okay. After the family business, we got to a point that luckily it was pre-COVID. Rents got very high, everything got very high, and they started to put a little bit more of a pull on us. And with hindsight, being 2020, we closed the restaurant up back in February. COVID hit like no later than a week or two later when we finally closed the doors.
Right.
And and now here we are. I'm back in the flooring business full time, which I never really got out of. I always had licensing. I always have stuff in the state of Florida I had to continue on. So I was always in contact with guys and always using my licensing with some jobs and some side work.
Right.
And now I'm with another large company, just as large as my one I started with down here, if not bigger. Great company. I'm in the position where I'm enjoying myself very much so, and I love the job, and I'm ready to move forward.
Good. Very good. I like it. And that's always something like I tell everybody who I come into who like I ran into people about I ran into people from the restaurant the other day and they're like, oh hey, what's Dad doing? And I was like, that's very much like after 40 years of being in industry, I feel like you're finally at that position. I remember you saying that you wanted to be at. You're like, good, now I'm at this point where after all that hard work, and that's something, you across entrepreneurial, something across, health and relationships and everything. After you put so much time and effort into something, you want to be at the point. Like obviously, you have struggles or something doesn't work out, but you get through it. After putting in so much time, you finally want to get to that point. Like I'm at the point where I want to be at, which I think is great now that you're finally at that and you're happy with it.
And then in my business starting out, your grandfather started us in the business, your uncle's in the business, your cousins are in the business, everybody in the family's in the flooring business. And you like to say, I call it from the floor. Right. We come from the floor, we started working hands and knees, installing, installation, every aspect of the business. And, you want to be able to say, I came from the floor and I was able to work, not be a cripple, not be hurt from lifting and pulling and working on your knees and, and being able to transition to a job because the money's different, installation to working for somebody, the money's big difference. Anybody that installs know how much they can make a year opposed to something else. You know, and that's the big transition. Transition is to be able to get off get off the floor, evolve out into a position and move up and grow from it, nowadays everything's computer oriented, everything's all different.
Right.
But with having the knowledge in this business and being, the school of hard knocks, learning from your feet up, and having family members do it and have everybody in the business gave us a great foundation and gave me a good start in life. That's why I'm happy. I'm healthy. I'm still healthy. I'm in a good position. I don't have to worry about my knees, my back. For the last 20 years, it's been like that. So,
right.
I'm more fortunate than most guys that are still installing.
Right, and that's something like, especially now, like I already did the video and I talked about how I quit Target, and I have these big dreams and this ambition from it, but I think a lot of it and a lot of people why I got a lot of love and support for them and going from it, I think is because I started out from that perspective. Like I think I did a video a while back and I talked about it, that usually when you see people say Papa, your dad and then my grandfather, when he busts his ass and then the next generation busts your ass, the third generation, they say usually it's money and everything's made in the first, it's saved and spent well in the third, and then it's ruined in the third. Because as it goes on, hard times create tough people, and then easy times create soft people is the general idea of it. So I'm very fortunate to have been in the restaurant for it and done all that, like the same thing for you, come from that aspect of I know what it's like to earn a day's wage and get $1. A lot of people that I both know and a lot of people that I see, especially when you're talking about finance and all this other big stuff, they don't really have that background.
No.
Especially now, like the whole hot button thing is like everybody who, oh hey, I don't have this background, people don't know what it's going through. Like say somebody earning, maybe a little bit above a minimum wage job, the people who earn way more than that are making a decision on it. And I know that's a lot of issues with a lot of people is people don't really speak about, hey, I know where you're coming from when they're already in a different position. So like I said, hearing you talk about that, I think that's, that's great that you came from that now that you got that. That's the kind of goal is to work towards something that, okay, I may not have started all the way at the top, but now I'm at, leaps and bounds ahead of where I ever thought I could be because of that hard work.
Well, let's face it, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, anybody that came from that generation, they didn't think about the future.
Yeah.
They worked every day. They were indestructible. They were, tough Italian background, tough Irish background, tough whatever ethnicity you came from. You came to this country with wanting to help and build and support the country and support your family.
Right.
Nobody ever thought of mortality. Everybody thought they were going to last. They're going to work till till 100 and then retire and have money in the bank.
Yeah.
Everybody just worked week to week, day by day, and that's all they did.
Yeah.
They didn't think about retirement plans, IRAs, anything like that. And then of course they evolved to my generation from your grandfather, and then now down to you guys. The biggest thing is hopefully we smartened up from seeing their mistakes.
Yeah.
And the same thing for you guys. Hopefully you guys smartened up from seeing our mistakes.
Right.
And there's things that can be done better and there's things that can't be done better. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's just a process and that's it.
And that's like something like I remember I made a list. I might have talked about it on a video. I made a list for when the restaurant closed, with like things that I watched that, because we went through it for the first time, you obviously had never owned an Italian restaurant, especially in the state of Florida, especially at this time with this kind of circumstance. So now I was able to kind of like build a list in my head, or at least I put it down a little bit, of things that's like, okay, here's mistakes that we did or that you had made then that I know now going forward, here's something to watch out from. Or like see friends I see my mistakes I see my friends make or that I make or just people in general, and you kind of learn from it. And that's the same thing like when I read all those books, Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, obviously, the whole thing is when they talk about it is here are issues that I made. I feel like learning from somebody else who is already in a position and then saying, okay, they made this mistake, let me know now when I go through it to kind of try and avoid this pitfall.
Sure.
It's like watching somebody play a video game. And
well, listen, you like to look. It's like watching a game. It's watch something and they roll back the tape to see where we made our mistakes previously. Biggest thing is with us, we learned in the school of hard knocks. We learned from working every day, going to school every day. Friends working for us every day. Everybody trying to make a living. And I always said, when your grandfather passed away, I always said, where else, do you get to spend the time with your family than a family business?
Yeah.
A lot of guys I know go off, they get a job, they see their family on the weekends. Me and your uncle got to work with your grandmother and your grandfather every day.
Right.
We got to see him, we got to learn from him. We learned from his mistakes, he wasn't perfect. No, nobody is. But I always said, everybody says foreign business, this business, that business. Oh, it's a curse, the food business. But you got 6 years in the food business to be around your family.
Yeah.
I got 20, 30 years to be around my family and to be with everybody. You have your arguments. When you're in the same business, you go home with the business.
Yeah.
You sleep, you eat, you do everything in the business. You talk about jobs at the dinner table, and it just it never becomes a separate thing. That's the thing that you learn now, saying you got to separate that. You guys growing up, you got to separate business. When you come home, work should not be discussed at the table. But when you're in a family business, that's the tough environment.
Yeah.
That's the pluses and the minuses. Is you're around your family, you get to work with them, but then you also bring home the problems.
Yeah, and that's something that I noticed a lot, especially with the restaurant. Was that we were able to, like, that was a big part of our life, and that's also, I think, something, like, I know a lot of people talk about like a work-life balance for it, and I think a big thing is. And a lot of people I watch, I don't think I ever told you about Gary Vee and all these other people. I'm sure you heard me and Chris joke about it. Perspective. They walk around and joking about it. A lot of it is just like when you love what you do. And like that's a big thing with Steve Jobs and all these other people that I talk about and I'm heavily influenced by. Is when you love what you do, like that is your life. That's your thing for it. But when you have like a job or you have just a business, like you're like, okay, I don't want to do this every waking second of every day. I have a family I want to go home to and care about. It's tough. Then you have to separate that, especially. And I think it's a lot of people now leaving COVID. I know a lot of people quit, and like the retail sector, there were great resignation. Everybody just left the retail sector and service industry. It's because people now realize, I think more, hey, I want to spend time with my family. I'm fucking killing myself here, and I'm making minimum wage. And then I got sick, and hey, the guy next to me got sick and died. And now, well, holy fuck,
Well, COVID gave everybody a new reality.
Yeah.
It's
I think it woke a lot of people up.
It woke a lot of people up. You want to. Nobody thought about saving for the rainy days as bad as they were.
Yeah.
Nobody thought about being ready for, being hospitalized for weeks and weeks and months, maybe not even coming out of the hospital, not even coming out of it. Nobody thought about any of this. Nobody prepared for this. So, of course, it's going to affect future generations because you're hoping now everybody we're trying to get out of COVID slowly but surely without these flare-ups. We're hoping to rebuild. You're hoping to put money away. You're hoping to save. You're hoping to have stuff for that rainy day because this is a unique situation.
Yeah.
And nobody knew this was going to happen.
Nobody was prepared. And like that's what I talked about, like a big thing on a lot of the people that I look at is emergency funds. And that's like a big thing. Like I always talked about it, and I talked about it, like I think it was like video 3 about like why just saving is stupid and you should put money in stock market and stuff is because that was a big thing for me. And I think one of the biggest shifts in my life, I know when I took off that, like those 9 months before I went to college for like 1 semester, it was like I learned a lot from that, from like Warren Buffett and seeing all that. It's very much, hey, this is stuff that people aren't doing, but it's readily available, this information. Here's what you need to be doing. And once I started applying that, and then of course the things I learned from my weight loss, I was like fuck. And that's why I try to tell all my friends, and a lot of them, school and just society in general and everything teaches you very much to go to work, get a job, put some money maybe in a 401k, and when you're 65, retire.
Well, see, back when I was young in college, the biggest thing they tell you is they were BSing you, telling you you'd have a job when you got out.
Yeah, now
you're going to have
a
degree, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. If you're going for business, you're going for lawyer, you're going for doctor, whatever you're going for. Yeah. But they didn't realize, back then I guess it was common to lie to everybody and say, you were going to be all right when you got out of college.
It still is now, and that's something like I had a lot of friends who, and I mean obviously it's the whole thing with them is they want to go get internships, they want to do stuff, and now because of COVID, now because of stuff. I don't know the exact statistic, but I know it's the majority of them. Kids who leave college don't have jobs in their field readily available, and they either don't use their degree directly or don't even go into a job for their field. Like I know a lot of people I work with at Target, they're in good positions because they have degrees, and they go right from there, and Target goes, oh hey, you internship with us and you have a degree, let's move you to a higher position when you graduate, but they got a marketing degree. And that maybe that applies to retail. They got a cooking degree or something. They majored in fucking the French horn. The degree, it's usually, oh, you have a degree, therefore you get a position. Very rarely now, at least, do you get a job in the sector you get a degree.
See, the funny thing back when I was a kid and I was growing up, they said learn a trade.
Yeah.
Learn a trade. You're a plumber, learn an electrician, become a floor installer, become a mason, become bricklayer, become whatever terminology you want to use for the jobs at the time. And they always said become something like that. Go to a trade school, become a mechanic. Have something that you can learn with and fall back on. Nowadays, now the degree point, nobody's going for degrees anymore. And everybody wants to stay out of school what are they going to learn? Where are they going to go? How are they going to work on, there's nobody there to teach you how to work on a car anymore unless you go to school, because that's a dying trade, There's nobody, we teach the flooring business. We try to teach it to the younger guys, but it's coming into a different generation.
Yeah, so it's a big change.
It's coming into different ethnicities. We're getting that influx of, different ethnicities, and then try to train them with the language barrier, with everything going on, try to instill people a certain way to do things.
Yeah.
To have that, respect for your trade, for your craft, not just to make the money and move on to the next job.
Yeah.
That's our biggest challenge right now, is trying to teach guys to do the trade, to stop, to take 5 minutes to do, hey, let's look at what you're doing. What are you doing wrong? Let's do the right methodology. And that's our biggest issue, is coming over those hurdles, is making sure that there's a quality installer in my trade. But the same thing with the restaurant. We couldn't get cooks.
Couldn't get cooks, yeah.
You got wait staff. Wait staff was good. It was okay. Then it wasn't okay. Then you go through different.
Very
bouts.
tough, yeah.
Back of house was the worst thing to do.
Because you need someone specialized with that experience, yeah.
People think, you're hiring a dishwasher, you're hiring, a salad prep guy, you're hiring a sous chef. Yeah, you need guys that want to work, first of all. Showing up is half the battle.
Yeah.
Okay, unfortunately, everybody down here wants to, they want to show up minimal. They want to get paid, $28+ an hour. They want cash. They don't want you to pay them on the books, which is ridiculous. Okay, because they don't want to pay tax, and they want the best of all the worlds.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. That's ridiculous. You got to make sure you pay them right. And just that's the problem. Nobody, and now unemployment and everything. Everybody making all the extra money. Everybody getting paid, extra money to be signed on to jobs because there's a job shortage. We're getting a different class of style of people that want to work.
Yeah.
Everybody's forgetting that you have to work to survive. Everybody's taking advantage of the system right now and running through the system and, making more money staying home. That's why we have a job shortage. Not a job shortage, a people shortage for the jobs. And like I said, I refer back to when I was growing up, you wanted to learn. You wanted to do something. You didn't want to be, a bum.
Right.
You wanted to be somebody that can make money, support a family, maybe have kids, buy a house, do the American dream.
Yeah.
Now it's different.
Now, see, I think a lot of it is, and I think it's less. I know I had a teacher in high school who was my math teacher. She was like very big on the trades because not a lot of people push that now. Like a lot of people want to go. I think it's a little different to what you said, how everyone wants to not go to college. I think everybody wants to go to college now, whether they need to or not. Like a lot of people think, oh, I just need to go to college. And like there's people who said, I don't care about the degree I'm getting. I just need a degree. It's like you don't, because like a lot of people, you could go to like, there's a huge airline technician shortage right now. That's a big thing that they've been doing before COVID now, especially now as people are trying to travel more, as we're hopefully getting out of it. Nobody knows how to work on fucking airplanes.
Yeah.
So if all the airplanes are grounded, what the fuck are you going to do? Nobody wants to go to train for it.
No, I always told your mother, I always told everybody, all my friends, as long as I have two hands, I'll always make money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Two
And that's
hands.
being resourceful about it. A lot of
I'm
people can't
I'm able to
do
function.
that.
I'm able to do my trade, and I don't want to be doing this at 80 years old.
Right.
Trying to install
But
flooring
do something, yeah.
and do stuff like that. But that's why you got to put yourself into a position where you need to say, okay, I'm off the floor. I'm not working anymore. Or I'm not cooking anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to own the restaurant now. I'm going to manage the restaurant. Whatever position and profession you're in, you have to try to get yourself to that position.
Yeah.
And it's the one out of, like I tell everybody, my case, I'm the one out of 1,000 guys that was able to get to the position where I'm in.
Yeah, it's tough.
Because it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to do it. You gotta take your time, be smart, and listen, and just want to work hard. That's the problem.
And I think that's a lot of like what I realize now. A lot of it is like, and I'm talking like again like all these people who are famous and who really did great stuff. Like say Steve Jobs, he was talking a lot about hey, they say you have to have great passion for what you do, and it's so true because if you're not going to do it, it's so much work that a normal person, a sane person would just quit if they're not happy with it. So you have to love what you do, and then also be able to put in that work because it's going to be a lot of hard work, and especially now like I quit, I'm trying to start a business, I'm trying to follow this full suit. It's going to be, and I love doing stuff like this. I love learning. I love doing that. That's like my thing. I'm a lifelong learner. So it's going to be. I know it's going to be a lot of hard work for probably maybe many years. You could be busting your ass to
your 30.
You
have the support factor, your family, you're here.
Yeah.
You have a home. You can do things. Some other people just can't do it. They got to get out of school and go right.
You got to get out of school and
go right to work.
And that's why I'm happy I have that. And
plus,
I also set that up though.
Yeah, but
plus
you got to also think about having a life.
Yeah.
You got to think about hanging out with your friends. You got to think about having a good time and enjoying yourself now when you're younger. before you guys get to start a family, before you sit down and want to, you meet somebody or whatever it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
You understand? I had a life. I had a very enjoyable time growing up. All my friends fortunately worked for your grandfather, and we were always around. And they worked
Right.
for me when I had my own company, and they were with me every day, and we were together day and night. We've got years and years and years of times and stories, which I think everybody should be able to experience and grow.
Right.
But you can't take your eyes off that perspective. You're still going to want to have a life besides work. Don't let it suck in. That's unfortunately
Yeah.
my era guys I grew up with. Work was everything.
Yeah.
But we still found time to go out. We still found time to have friends. We still have, I still got them to this day.
Yeah.
I've got, guys like Little Mike, Mark, Eddie, and Grabowski, and all my friends. We all still hang out. We still talk. My buddy Kojak, we talk. Like I said, we talk.
Like it's yesterday.
Like yesterday. Talking to Mark a few hours ago. Talking to Little Mike every morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't have.
That's great. A lot of people don't do that.
We haven't seen each other in 3 years, but the conversation we have is we seen each other 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So you got to build those bonds and have those friends and have that healthy relationship. As far as I see,
Right.
Other people could disagree with me. That's fine, but you got to have that with your friends. You got to have a life. Watch their kids grow up. Watch your kids grow up. How your kids hang out with their kids, and the bonds and the friends and the friendships that you try to be like. Unfortunately, we moved and we're 1,200 miles away from most of them.
It's a little different,
but
now you got technology. Now you can call. You got FaceTime.
So you still talk. You still see it.
Yeah.
A plane is $200 anywhere. Local. You know what I'm saying? So you make that time and you do everything. But time goes by too fast.
Yeah, and that's something like I really, and I talk about it a lot here, that I kind of discovered about myself is when I originally got into high school, my whole thing was like, I had Plaz games, I wanted to do a video game business, and I wanted to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then originally I wanted to go to NYU, and I wanted to go to college in New York and move back to New York and do all that stuff. Something I discovered about myself is I'm very, and I remember you told me about it, and I think it really sat with me, is like once I flick the switch on something, that's it. It's very different from what I see a lot of other people doing stuff lately with it, is like, well, even like a lot of my friends, a lot of them don't want to do the same things that I do. Mm. And my philosophy on it is that like now, I love working hard if it's for something I'm passionate about.
You
like,
do you.
Yeah, like, and that's something like a lot of people find, like I said, like a work and then friends. I always talk about it here too. Like family and friends is like a really big thing with me. I don't think anybody could be anywhere. I know I'm certainly wouldn't be anywhere without family and friends, and just even like a good, a kind word really goes a long. I text one of my friends and they're just like, hey, Joe, I appreciate it. I'll see you soon, or oh, hey, I checked your video, and they'll joke and we'll laugh about it. But also in the same token, like I'm very much like if it's something I'm passionate about, that is like what I'm doing. Like I could easily see myself doing stuff like this for the rest of my life, and working it off, and just this is like my thing.
You got to chase your goals and do what you enjoy. Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes you don't get to do. Not everybody gets to do something that they're going to enjoy for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, a lot of people don't.
You gotta want to say to yourself, "I'm doing this every day. If I'm happy, I'm going to be successful.
Yeah.
If I'm unhappy, change.
Yeah.
Don't try to manipulate the position to make you happy in the position, for something that you're not
really hard set.
You're hot set on it. You don't want to do it. Like I said,
at least long term.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up. I got put into the family business at an early age, and I enjoyed it. I mean, we made it fun. We had fun.
Right.
We worked every day. Went to school. But we did everything together.
Yeah.
Friends, family. Big get-togethers, barbecues. That was another story we could go on about them. Neighborhood barbecues with the friends.
Right.
So, and family. Just things, holidays, 4th of July, Christmases. You gotta want to do stuff. You do summer houses with your friends, and it's stuff that hopefully that everybody gets to experience.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of what the channel is. A lot of what I talk about with everything, and a lot of what I was talking to like people when I was leaving Target and just everybody in general is I don't want, and this again I learned it from like a younger age, maybe like middle school, high schoolish. I don't want to sit there and just be like I'm unhappy with my life. And I remember when I was overweight, that was kind of what went through my head with some stuff. Was like I don't want to be like, oh, I'm unhappy with stuff. Like that's why now, and I know controversially, like I know a lot of people don't think it's maybe the best decision, but for me that is like why I quit Target and why I went into stuff wholesale and why I really, because I feel if you're doing what you love, like you just gotta go for it. Obviously, it's different now. So, like, say say you were stuck in an industry you hated, like not quite with the restaurant. Like, I really don't think. I mean, you could have hated being at the restaurant, but now, say you wanted to change industries or change something, you weren't happy there. You have a family, you have stuff, you all that. So that's why I was like, well, I built my life around having that freedom. That's like the big thing. That's why I didn't do credit card debt. That's why I don't want to owe anybody anything. I don't want to have to be somewhere at a certain point. I want to be able to say, oh, hey, like, say one of my best friends moves across the country and he goes, hey, we're, me and the family are getting together this weekend. I want to have the freedom and hopefully the financial freedom to say, okay, cool, I'm going to go meet you guys.
Jump on a plane and drive.
And just because you don't have that time is the thing. Mm-hmm. I think once people start really valuing their time, and I understand, like, say, if you have a family, it's a completely different position. You got to build into that. It's very tough.
Things change. Once you get married, you and your wife or your spouse, whatever you're going to do, kids come along. When they come along, or if you plan for them, you don't plan for them, then life totally changes.
Yeah.
It's a totally different view. And, people always ask me, how'd you know when you were going to get married? How'd you know, when you were going to settle down? How'd you know you were going to get a business? Because it's just, it's time. You know what I mean?
You don't until you do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. I mean, I just can't explain it. We had fun. We went crazy. We had a great time. Then all of a sudden, marriage became not a priority. It just happened.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a priority. You don't have to set a time.
Yeah.
It's just let nature take its course. If it happens, it happens. For some people, it don't.
Yeah.
And that's just my view. And that's just the way it fell out for me and most of my friends.
Yeah.
And then everybody's working, everybody's making a living, and again, you want to make time for people. I'd love to see more of my friends. I'd love to see more of the people I grew up with. They're involved with their lives. They've got their kids. They've got issues. They've got problems. So now is a pinnacle time in your life, being the age you are, is to take advantage of everything and to do everything you can do when it happens. You might not be able to afford to go out. You might not be able to afford to take that trip, but be involved, do stuff, get out, whatever it is. And don't let life pass you by because it's too short. And I think COVID showed us, we lost a lot of people that didn't plan on, dying, didn't plan on going anywhere, and didn't probably do things in their life that they wanted to do and live in regret.
Yeah.
And I don't want, my goal in life is for you and your brother to make sure you guys enjoy yourselves. Don't live in regret. Enjoy it every minute of the time that you have. And enjoy your family, enjoy your friends.
Yeah.
So
I think it's and I think that's something like one of the big things is like remembering you're going to die someday is like the most amazing thing that you could do. That's what a lot of successful people say is because then you stop worrying about stuff. They say every person lives two lives: the one when you're born and the one when you realize you only have one life. Because when you start thinking about it like that way, like, oh fuck, I'm worrying about, and that's also why then I cut out a lot of negativity. I cut out a lot of worrying in my life. It's just like, I only have one life to live. I'm 21 now, and I have infinitely many years to figure out shit and enjoy it and do that. But if I spend time worrying or being upset or just not good things, I'm wasting time. I could live till I'm 80. Let's just say it could be shorter, it could be longer. But if I live to 80, I have 50-something years to enjoy my life, and that's a huge amount of time. But also at the same time, you can't squander it.
And you don't know where it's going to take you. You don't know what health. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to enjoy it.
Driving down,
do what you got to do.
You're going in the car. You're driving down the road. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
That's why we've lost a lot of friends in the last couple of years, and we've lost guys from the silliest things, and and you sit back and you say to yourself, oh damn, I should have called Big Mike one more time.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to him in 2 months. I used to talk to him every morning. So every morning I try to do my routine. I try to reach out to everybody. I try to text everybody. I try to email everybody, and just check on everybody and see what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
And see how they're doing with their families, and see how just to touch on their lives a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's you should make time for that.
Yeah, and I think that's that's like a big thing. Again, with me is just like having that time. Like, I don't want my time monopolized, and that's also why I feel a traditional job is the worst thing I could ever do. Mm-hmm. Is at least for the short period, like I enjoyed Target, I enjoyed stuff like that, and I'm sure I would enjoy whatever job. You find the joy in it, but long term, like you said, you can enjoy something and get into it and like it, but if it's not for you, long term, you can't force it. Like, I go to work every day and be happy to do something, but if it's not what I want to do, there's always that core thing like, hey, I'm not doing something I'm happy with. I'm just kind of making it to get by. And I don't want to ever have to do that. I want that time to be my time. I want to be able to go, okay, and it's something I tell myself every time I go to do something. A lot of times I'm hanging out with friends or I do stuff. It's just like, okay, this was especially before pre-COVID, maybe now less with the travel restriction stuff, but it's like I could be anywhere in the world doing anything with anyone right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to be doing what I'm about to go do? And then if it's like, the same thing like Steve Jobs said, if you wake up in the morning and you look yourself in the mirror and you're unhappy for too many days in a row, it's time to make a change.
Yep.
So if I go do something, I'm like, no, I don't want to be here right now. Like anytime I spend time with my friends, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. If we're having a really good time as a family, there's nowhere else I'd rather be.
Yeah.
But if I'm just like, I fucking hate doing the thing I'm about to go do, and I got to spend 6 hours doing it, it's like, what the fuck? I could be literally anywhere in the world. A plane ticket, yeah, that's not cheap, but a plane ticket to anywhere in the world. I could walk up to somebody and talk to them, and I could go on a whole fucking adventure in anywhere in the world I want. I could be in Iceland, fucking tonight. I could be on the other side of the country, in a couple hours. Just we're such a big world, and I could, so knowing that, and then also knowing, hey, you have a limited amount of time. Granted, you still got a lot of time left, but I have a limited amount of time. I can't waste that. Just sitting doing something menial that's not long-term beneficial just means nothing to me.
Yeah, you gotta
do that
live
like that.
You gotta live every day.
Yeah.
You gotta live every day.
You gotta prepare for the future, I think, too, which is really important.
You gotta prepare, but you gotta live
enjoy
every day. And like I said, and you got the people and the friends around you, fighting and arguing with family. Money usually is the root of everything that people don't talk. And just not reaching out to people. I make it a habit. I call everybody, like I said before, I make it a habit of reaching out to people. And because then you're like, hey, I didn't talk to him for a month. Oh my God, he passed away.
Yeah.
Oh my God, something happened. And it just, and then you're like, damn it, I wish I would have had, like even your grandfather. Your grandfather, we lost him a long time ago, which is 12 years now. Not 12 years, I'm sorry, 9 years. And 2012. And we lost, and there's every day I say, damn, I wish I have the story done. What's shit? Papa would know. Damn it, my father would know. He'd remember because he was involved with us and he was there. Hey, you remember this person? And unfortunately, Mom's been with, we've been together, 25 years.
Yeah.
So she knows a lot of the history I have, so we get to talk about it. But it's great to have that person that was in that room that time and get their aspect and get their opinion and get
Yeah.
How funny your grandfather was, get his perspective on it. And talk to him. Hey, you remember that guy? Yeah. It just is different. And when people are not around anymore, you kind of, you think about the memories. You try to write it down. You try to put it all on paper. You try to remember all these things. Tell you guys stories. Tell your friends stories.
Yeah, it goes through.
And get on the phone and we bullshit with my friends for an hour and a half. We talk about the old days. We still got to get together. Nobody gets together. Everybody puts it off. So things are different now. So.
Yeah. And that's, I think, why I do the beach houses and stuff like that a lot, is because I don't want to, have that kind of situation. And even though there's people, for whatever reason in my life, I don't see, or we grew apart, or I don't talk to, or, maybe I don't have their information or whatever, there's stuff and stories that I'm just like, oh, hey, so-and-so is the only one around who would know the story. Fuck, I wish, I could send them a text or say, hey. And a lot of them, luckily, are still alive that I still could, but maybe, again, for whatever reason, we don't have a conversation together.
Yeah.
And
you grow out of touch with people.
Yeah, you grow out of touch.
Some people, they just grow out of touch.
And usually I'll be the first one to shoot the text. Like if I haven't talked to someone in 6 months and I have a story I want to talk about, I'll be like, hey, remember the time we fucking did this? Yeah, I remember that. And then that's it. And then we'll go get lunch or something if applicable. I
mean, like I said, I got friends that we do that. I just talked to yesterday. I just talked to this morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just it's certain people you're gonna lose touch with. Now with Facebook, and all these other things, everybody's on it. Everybody's talking to each other.
Everybody see what's going on.
Everybody say what's going on. They see, you got a family, you're doing well, things are good. Which kind of makes it impersonal too, because a lot of people don't pick up the phone and call each other.
Yeah, which I think, yeah.
You know what I mean? Me, I have my Facebook and I haven't made one post in 20 years.
Yeah.
So long as I've been on there, 15 years, whatever the time is.
Right. Yeah.
I made one post for Big Mike passing away, and that was it. And your grandfather. But just to let everybody know that he did pass away, or he did pass away, both of them.
Yeah.
But just I'd rather pick up the phone. Hey, what are you doing? What's going on? How's everything?
Yeah.
That's just me.
And I still do it. And then there's still some people I'm not super close with that I'll have on Facebook or stuff like that. And on Instagram and all my personal Facebook, I don't really use it like that. Like a lot of people I know, they'll be on it every day. I'll do it, for business stuff like this. I'll be on it for stuff. But my personal one, I'll maybe update it 4 or 5 times a year if it's something big I did. Like when I got my first car, then, or oh hey, it was my birthday, then, or Merry Christmas, something like that. Yeah. And then people, otherwise usually I'll do the same thing. And I think maybe I kind of learned that from you, is that I'm very like personal. Like anytime I organize like beach houses or big events, I hate doing it in group chats. I like talking to the person directly.
Yeah.
Because then you also get a different reason. Maybe, growing
Listen,
up with kids who...
seeing a person and
Yeah.
being in front of a person and talking to a person, you get to read on the person.
Yeah.
You get to read on the situation. Then sometimes people are more frank with you on the phone. They don't want to be, they're, got phone muscles, not, lack of a better term.
Yeah.
But they'll tell you and confide and be more front because they're not standing in front of you and they're not embarrassed and they're not putting themselves in.
Well, maybe that, yeah. And then, sometimes it's the distance, but like that's... Like it's just like when I'm growing up in the same kind of thing. Like if I in group chats, if say like somebody can't afford something or doing stuff, especially with grown people who I know people who are a lot better off than I am, and I know people a lot worse off than I am financially, and as far as like living situations and stuff. So if I said, okay, we want to do this and it costs that, a lot of the other times in a group chat, somebody maybe gets scared to speak up, but at least me, they know I'm an honest person. Like, oh, Joe, I could tell Joe the truth. Hey, I don't got the money right now. I'll give it to you next week or something. Oh, hey, I can't do this one. This is a little on my budget. And I'll say, okay, let me see what I can work with, and you can figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's on that personal level. It's not just over a big, like not out in the world for everybody to see. You know what I'm saying?
I traveled a lot when I was in my single days, and I had one friend that we traveled all the time all together.
Yeah.
Then I had certain trips I went on with my other friends because they were more affordable.
Yeah.
If I went to like I had one friend, Big Nicky. We used to hang out. We'd go travel. We'd go to the not the expensive trips, but the trips that cost more money.
Yeah.
$1,500 trip, $1,200 trip. Week at a hotel, $300 a night.
Yeah.
And we did.
When you're younger, that's that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. And then we did more of those things. Then I had my other friends, my very close friends, and we did the drive to Florida, fly here for $199.
Yeah. Whole trip's like $200, $300.
And we got there and we made ends meet for 10 days.
Yeah,
and
you
we hung out. We wound up in all the clubs, the bars, the restaurants, and we had a great time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's some of those trips that you're not really prepared for that become the best ones.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
To see, it's like holy shit! I can't believe we actually did that.
Yeah. And that's all with the beach houses too. It's just like usually it's just like $70 or whatever it is. And then everybody throws it in. It's less than $100 for the weekend, and that's like some of the best memories. Yeah. It's because and I think it's a lot of it is because of the people it's there and the way you're spending your time. If you spent it worrying about that or stuff, and that's also where I got to do that. I do it now more with a lot of stuff. I'd spend money willy nilly on things, and I think about it. Oh, hey, maybe now instead of spending this on this and this, I could use that towards a trip or something, and I'm going to have infinitely more fun.
As you get older, you'll see different
doing stuff, and you think about it. I don't need that new shirt. I don't need that new
my one friend
crap.
in New York, we wound up going out every Saturday night. We did it for a year or two.
Yeah.
Until shit happened, and he met a girl. I started doing this. And then we'd go out every Saturday for dinner.
Yeah.
Me and him went out. And we picked a good, nice restaurant in New York. You can go anywhere and find one. A decent restaurant. We pick a Saturday night, me and my buddy, my other friend Mike, and we'd go out. He'd pick me up. We went to Peter Luger's. We went to this place, we went there, and we'd have a good dinner, 8 to 9, 10 o'clock. We'd digest, maybe even go home, take a nap, and then go meet my other friends. 11 o'clock, they'd be at the bar or the restaurants or the clubs we used to hang out in Brooklyn.
Right.
And we'd all go out. and We'd stay out till ungodly hours in the night.
Yeah.
And have a good time.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
But there's different things you can do. You don't have to not so much exclude the certain core friends, but you could have that one friend that you do. This is my one friend I travel with. This is my one friend I go out to dinner with. This is my one. This is my crew of friends that we go out. They're always good to hit the bar.
Yeah.
The bar, okay. And then that's what we did is $50 for the night if you had that much. That that covered them for a night of. They didn't have to even drink. $20. A couple sodas.
Yeah.
A couple glasses of water, maybe some chicken wings or something like that, and that's it. And then we had a good time. Watched the game. Everybody's home. 1, 2 in the morning. Get up for work the next day. Everybody go back out. We do it again the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And that's like something like a lot of, like I'll have friends who, oh hey, I want to go do this, and I'm like, well, that's not my thing, and I'll have stuff that's like, oh let's go do this, but I can't invite everybody because I think especially with money, it's like a kind of a mindset thing. Like, oh hey, this is too much, or I'd rather spend money somewhere else. It's like, okay, I have a group of people who I know would enjoy this kind of thing. I could go with them. I know everybody else is going to enjoy this. I know everybody else is going to want to go here at this time or do this. So I think finding that kind of balance is important with it too.
Sure. And like I said, I think having good friends, and you have a unique situation. You met all your friends in high school, like I did. I've got my lifetime friends for 30 plus years.
Right.
In high school. I got one friend that we went from kindergarten and to the current day, together, but that's one exception,
Yeah.
But, and we've got friends that we all still hang out with. We all still have the same group of guys. And I know you have a group of guys that, you all hang out with, and everybody's good and respectful of each other's feelings and what everybody wants to do with their lives and stuff. And then everybody always falls back to their friendships.
Yeah.
Just I think now, today's times, and I think just the way it is, if COVID didn't show us anything, again, I bring it up, it brings up our own mortality, and it shows us that we want to be around people, and you want to, see people and friends, because you got to cherish that time. And again, you're thinking practical, you want to start a company, you want to do what you enjoy, you want to make money at it. If it's what you enjoy, you want to make, not many guys can do that. Many guys are going to look and say, hey, that's a good job, I like it, kind of interested in, I know they make X a year, guy, electrician, a plumber, great professions, great jobs. Yeah, this guy can make 100 grand a year. You know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to become apprentice. I'm going to become a journeyman.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just it's what they want to do,
and that's what they get into.
Yeah.
Like I said, back in the day when we were kids, that's trades were the thing.
Yeah.
Trades were the thing. Owning your own business. Me and my other friend, my buddy Little Mike, we would. His dad owned a business. My dad owned a business, kind of like your situation.
Right.
You and your brother. And we hung out together, and we worked at our dad's businesses. And it was like, we were able to do things that maybe some of the other guys weren't able to do because their situation was a little different. But we also helped our friends.
Yeah.
We also helped our friends. Hey, you can't go out tonight. Good, I got an extra 20. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
What I mean? And that's what we did. And then you get, if they had it, they reciprocated. We busted each other's balls about it.
Yeah.
They say you cheap bastard. You ain't got no
you
money.
joke around with
fucked,
someone.
fucked with each other left and right. But that was endearing to us. That gave us. That's what keeps us to this day as best friends.
Yeah.
Because we gave each other shit, and we gave each other shit in the right way.
Yeah.
And we had fun giving each other shit.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's sensitive. You can't say the things and do the things we used to do when we were kids.
Sometimes, yeah.
We're not very PC back in the day, but we didn't mean anything by it,
Yeah.
So things change, everything changes. Life comes full circle. So I'm glad you got that perspective, and you're thinking about about doing things that you enjoy the best.
Yeah, and it's funny how you said it like it was practical. I think a lot of people also would feel it's impractical to do that kind of thing, like go out and because it's scary. It's a risk, especially when you think of like down the line. A lot of people think the same thing. Well, why am I going to go start a business? This, that. It's going to cost me a lot of money, a lot of hard work, and then in 5 years it doesn't work out. What am I going to do as far as starting a family? At least someone my age, what am I going to do as starting a family? If I don't have any money, if I don't have a career, if I'm not in a relationship, what's going to go on? And I think a lot of people think, but for me, it feels practical. Like the impractical thing in my mind would be, like I know it's impractical, and I think that's part of why I like it is because it's a big risk, and I like going out there on a limb and doing these big chances. If something works,
you got to try new things.
Yeah,
you got to try new things, and unfortunately, life is a risk sometimes.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, you could plan everything from the day you're born to the day you die, and you could plan your career and plan. Listen, I'm gonna have 2.3 kids. I'm gonna have a house with a white picket fence.
Yeah,
and shit happens.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It always change, and I think that's a lot of. I think then that for me is I know. Because of that, because of like the time situation and what I want to achieve, I think that in my mind is the thing I know I need to do.
Mm.
And I also think it's like part of like I know you said like not everybody has the situation to do it. I think it definitely helps it, but I also think it's a lot of people's mindsets who keep them in place with stuff. Like when I quit, a lot of the older folks at my work, all the younger folks, oh yeah, Joe, all my friends who like are close to my age, almost all the people who are older over 60. They told me, and they said, I'm really glad you're doing that because you're such a bright kid. They said, growing up, I've seen so many people who here and just everywhere else, they said, they just didn't get out of that.
Potential and get stuck in the rut.
Yeah, they don't want to take that risk. They don't want to do that. And especially a lot of them, like, I know one lady, she went to like the Middle East and learned to cook in the Middle East, and her husband was a radio tower technician, back in like the fucking 50s or whatever it was. And it was all this crazy stuff, and she lived this life well lived kind of thing. And she said, yeah, I'm so happy that you got to do that. Because a lot of people don't think that way. Maybe you have the opportunity, but I think the mindset of it is what really keeps people in place because they don't, you could start with nothing, you could start with everything, but if you don't have that mindset of, oh, hey, I want to go do something, I want to take that risk, I want to do that, then you're going to end up in whatever spot you're going to end up. You're not going to take that risk and do it and enjoy it.
The biggest thing is, you right now you're indestructible, you're invincible, you're young, you're single. Whomever lives at home, that type of thing. So you've got that, like, get up and go.
Right.
A lot of people that are married, have a kid, have 2 kids, whatever, live in an apartment, live in a rental, live in a whatever their situation is, they're aspiring to be more, but they also got to
in a different way.
They got to keep their kids to be fed.
Yeah.
They've got to make sure the rent is paid. They got to make sure there's a roof over their head. So a lot of times, it'll keep them in that safe position, and they will want to do something else, or take that chance, or take that gamble. And having the restaurant, when we did the restaurant, it was a unique situation.
Yeah.
Listen.
It was kind of a gamble too. I mean, you're just like, I'm leaving a comfortable job to own a business.
Yeah.
God forbid the place burns down tomorrow. How do I feed my family or something? It's a big risk.
I mean, it was closing. The restaurant was closing when we took it.
Yeah.
I mean, the owners, my partner's mom and dad said, if you don't take it, we're shutting the doors. We're shutting the keys. We're giving the keys back. So we took a gamble. It was running to the ground, and we did pretty damn good for 6 years.
I say we built it up.
Yeah, built it up really well. I mean, every year was a better year. You know what I mean? Look at our reviews. Our food was good, and everything was good. Just having a partner is, it was a choice. It was a gamble. It was, and then you have disagreements, and that's why I try to say, do everything you can by yourself. Have somebody there that you're paying to do their job. Don't try to share it with somebody if you're starting something and take that risk, because then the person always looks at the other person for messing up. Yeah. It just becomes bad blood. A family.
I think it needs to be a like-minded thing. I think the issue in that particular case also was like anytime you see like all these big companies with co-founders and stuff like that, it's because they share a dream and a passion. Mm-hmm. I don't think that you and your partner shared the same dream, work ethic, passion. No. I think that as the issue was that it wasn't like you were, maybe this isn't your dream to own a restaurant, but you were happy with it, and you're like, I'm going to make it work, I'm going to kick ass, I'm going to do this. And then say the other portion of it was, well, I have the knowledge and the know-how. This is what I want to do, but I don't have the work ethic to keep it going. So I think that's where like you guys had, not like a 50-50 thing on it, but it's just like you had stuff that he didn't, and he had aspects of it like, oh, hey, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like now we closed and I'm going to go still work in food service kind of thing. But you guys weren't on the same page, I think was the issue. You guys didn't mesh like that.
You know what, in the beginning you kind of did.
It was like a friendship, but not in the same value or the mindset of it.
It was better to be a friend than to be a working partner.
Yeah, and that's a lot of things. Friendships could be ruined by work and money.
Everybody gets involved, family, and everything gets involved, and it becomes a thorn in that person's side. But in the same token, when you go into a partnership, you're taking on that person's whole family.
Yeah.
You're taking on the whole person, what they do, the family, the aspect. And if you're not ready for that...
At least at that level, like a small business kind of,
small business, at least. If you're not ready for that, then tough shit on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're building something from the ground up.
I come from New York. I come from a family. We work together. We work friggin' 15 hours a day. We work Saturdays. We work Sundays. We busted ass. My friends were all raised the same way. They're all work now. I can name, top 5 of my friends. Each one's doing something else. Been doing it for 20 years now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Certain people were spoon-fed. Certain people, would come in at, 11 and go home at 8, leave other people to close up and walk away and have that cavalier attitude. That's just not the way I work.
Yeah.
So, knowing somebody, it's like a marriage, unfortunately. Like being a partnership, I should have lived with him before I married him. You know what I'm saying? To be that partner, to see what his likes, his dislikes, to see what his work ethic was. Because everybody talks a lot of shit, but talks a good game when you first talk to them.
And you don't know really until you get into it.
And unfortunately, I intimidated him with my work ethic. I was gung ho. I was get out of my way. I got it. That type of thing.
Yeah.
Do it myself, workaholic type. But that's just the way I was raised.
Yeah.
You could have jumped in and kept up with me. Yeah. I could have dialed it down, and and that person.
I would say, you guys weren't on the same frequency of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the other risk with business. You can have the best idea and the best intentions.
But you guys don't mesh.
But finally, partnership, you're not meshing, and when you do one thing, the person you're out there, the person does another. You try to put in rules, and they don't enforce it. They only enforce it when it's convenient to them. You know what I mean? And it's just little things, and then when you're not making the exact money that you think you're making, or the times are tight. When times are tight, every little thing bothers you. When times are busy, okay, the little shit.
Yeah, no issues. Yeah.
Yeah, no issues.
I feel that's a big issue with. A lot of people who go into entrepreneurship and start a business and do stuff it's such a difficult, and I mean, for owning your own business, it's such a difficult thing that if you don't know I'm going to get through this hard point, if you're just looking for a quick buck, it's not the situation. Like I know I mentioned Gary Vee earlier. He talks about that. He's like, some people just aren't cut out for entrepreneurship because they don't love it.
Mhm.
Some people are just like, oh, I see what I can get. I can see I get a nice car, the nice house, the attractive wife, multi-billion dollars. Like people see, oh, I can live like Jeff Bezos, but people don't understand or love the portion of, oh, but I'm going to bust my ass building a business for the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. And so, see, I think that's also from the same kind of small business standpoint. It's just like, especially when you have a family and stuff, your values, maybe when you were younger, you're just like, yeah, I could do this, blah, blah, blah. But your value then and your importance kind of changed.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, my thing isn't, oh, this, especially if it's not your dream, you're just like, I'm not going to work hard to do something. And I think that's probably why another reason why now you made that switch is if I'm going to bust my ass to do something and I'm taking all this exposure out and this risk for my family, and it's not something I love, and what if it doesn't work out? You're just like, well, I'm not willing to fight through it. The risk doesn't worth the reward. Mm-hmm. For someone like, say, like in my position of it, if I just, and this is a completely different situation in the same token, but I'm saying like different mindset. Mm-hmm. It's just like, if this doesn't work for the next 10 years, I'm still going to love it and still going to do it. Yeah. If you're like, well, I got to worry about a family, you got all this stuff going on, and the situation, and that's also like you built, because that's what you wanted from life, was a family, stuff like that. Yep. My thing is, I'm a big freedom thing. That's like and that's also why I didn't buy a new car. Whenever he's just like, Joe, you have a car doesn't work, why don't you get a new car? Because I don't want to owe anybody any money.
Exactly.
That's why I don't work my 9 to 5, and I'm taking the risk, or I do Uber and other side hustles. Is because I want that freedom. That's the value. Your thing is, I value my family and this and that. I of course do, but then also token to that as far as a professional thing is like, I value that freedom. I don't want to get locked down somewhere. Yeah, so that's where I build my life around, is that freedom.
I also live on a schedule. I live on a schedule because of my family.
Yeah.
If I was single, if I had to, if I could go in every day at 10 and work every day till 6, and beat the traffic going and coming.
And if it doesn't work out, you could always switch gears and do something.
And jump into something else.
Yeah.
And that's good. That's
you have a cushion.
Well, that's the luxury of you guys being at your age.
At a younger age.
And that was the luxury of me growing up too, and being able to, live at home. Let me try these careers. Let me see where I'm going. We had ideas. You wanted to do this. We wanted to do that. We wanted to do this. I wanted to do this growing up and that. It gave you the tenure, gave me to try it. Yeah. I got to try it. I really don't want to. I'm using this for example. I didn't want to go to law school. Yeah. I got to go for 12 years of school, and I got to do this, and I got to, and all my friends are doing this, and and your grandfather got sick, and I changed my life a little bit, to adapt for that, and go out on my own, and and want to do something, but I stuck to what I knew. Yeah. I stuck to what I knew, and I said, if I'm going to do this, why do it half-ass? Yeah. Why not do it both feet in, firmly planted on the ground? Let me learn everything I can. Yeah. And every day is a new day for me. Yeah, big learning as every day I learn something new. It's the same methodology for me, but it's the same procedure, and you got to be able to grow in what you do. Yeah. If you're going to be the best, doctor, baker, whatever you're going to be, you want to learn more. You want to do more. You don't want to just I make cookies all day. That's it. I want to do this. I want to, you want to branch out and build with. And that's my goal. Some people might be content. Yeah, some people like just having. I love everybody in every business and every trade which makes our world go. Just different goal, different mindset, different ambition. I want to learn more. I want to be better. Yeah. I'm the same way with that. That's a big. I want to be. That's it? Is this all I need to know? No. Well, you can do this. We could learn that. We could grow from here. We can get into this. And I want to learn every aspect of it because if I want to do it, I want to know it well. Yeah. Some people don't do that. Some people, hey, listen, I'm content. I'm happy. I'm content. I'm at my plateau. I'm not going to go any further with this job. This is where I want to be. I'm happy with my money. I go home every day. I get home by 6 o'clock. I spend time with my family. I go out on Saturday nights. We go for dinner, and that's it. I'm happy. I can do what I need to do. Yeah. And that's great. That's great. Oh yeah, I think that's absolutely, and that's something like I talk about a lot. Is with this channel, and which what I push is, I think definitely just a person who wants a wife, a family of 4, dog named Spot, white picket fence. They could definitely take stuff from this and apply it to their life. But really, my core goal is for people like me, in the whole sense of, I want something different. Like I always knew, and my friends like, yeah, I know you always want to be rich. It's just like, but I don't want to have money and do stuff to have a fancy car and this, that. I want, the security that protects me, but I also want the freedom, that life of service of adventure. You want to appreciate what you do. Yeah, I could go out and do whatever I want tomorrow, and a big thing with me is helping people change the world. If there's something I could do to help people, I want to do it.
and I could have the freedom then to do that or go see the people I care about. Like a lot of people who can't, say like you would, Papa, you couldn't visit, couldn't just drop on a dime and go visit your dad.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have freedom of stuff. Just like, okay, cool. I don't have to ask anybody about taking off for a job. I don't want to have to worry about doing stuff like that.
And you're the one of the many that if you get to that point, that you can do that.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's great. You got you support your family here. We've got everybody, that wants to back you up. And, again, if I wanted to be narrow-minded, I could say, well, listen, I at least learn a trade. At least come to work with me every day. Let me teach you how to do floor. And like I've told you and your brother, I want to teach you guys everything that I have.
Yeah.
Just so
we can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, maybe I'll get the floors put in. Maybe I'll just do my bathroom myself.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm a big DIY thing. I talk about it here all the time. I like doing stuff.
Maybe I'll just do my bathroom myself, and I'll do it better. I'll do it nicer. It might take me a little longer, or let me hire somebody and let me know they're not bullshitting.
No, they're not bullshitting me.
They're not bullshitting me. No, that's not the way you do that.
Yeah.
My father showed me this is the way you do it.
Educated.
No, my father's not wrong. He knows what he's doing. He still does it for a living. You know what I mean? And that type of thing. At least you're educated and smarter about stuff.
Yeah.
Like nowadays YouTube and everything. Everybody could change a battery. Everybody could do.
Can learn how to
brakes.
do it. Yeah.
Everybody could do. There's somebody out there to teach somebody how to do something. You know what I mean? It's all the fundamentals, and at least that nobody's taking advantage of you. At least okay, I know I should be paying $50 for this, not $500.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the reason why I want you guys to learn and to understand trade and understand, growing up how we did, not so much on the street, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We grew up on the street, hanging out in the street, playing in the street, with our friends on the street, we lived in a dead end block, and we hung out. That's all we did every day was constantly on the street. We weren't, I was fortunate. I grew up in a great house and, a perfect family, that loved each other and we took care of each other.
Yeah.
We had issues too, but my father afforded for us what we can do. Never wanted for anything, but in our token, we went back and we worked with him.
Yeah.
Roll carpet needed to be moved. Don't make my father do it. He's got to pay it back.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't do that. No, hey, we got this. We're here. We're covering you.
Yeah.
No, the garbage is got to out.
Not because you have to, because you want to.
I don't care if it was the garbage. I don't care if it was washing the windows. Wherever it was, everybody jumped in, pitched in, and did it. Didn't want him to do it because he is. Because of him, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
And people take that for granted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, this is my job. If it wasn't for me, I'm doing this one a favor. And that unappreciative bullshit gets me crazy.
Yeah.
I had, people work for us, in the restaurant.
Yeah.
And, every day was a new story. Every day was a bullshit story.
Yeah. Be happy I'm coming in.
Yeah, happy I'm here
Which
today.
sucks, but yeah.
You should be happy. I'm here today. Fuck this. This is, I don't need this job.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you don't need this job. But then when we closed up, the guy went through nine other jobs.
Trying to find the same thing.
Trying to find the same thing. Trying to, kick themselves in the ass and saying, I took for granted what I had when I had it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they weren't such a horrible place to work at.
Yeah. It's that gratitude, and that's something also I tried to learn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Especially then, even though I knew, say, retail wasn't my thing, I was so grateful to have that then during the pandemic, meet all these people. Between that and all my side stuff, I was able to get my dream car and, build it and do stuff. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have been in that position. And I think it's also, and then especially as a small business owner, you of course live for your employees, you live for your customers.
Mm-hmm.
They're the reason why you're in business. But at the same token, you have to, especially say in that kind of situation, if they're not grateful, if they don't love their job, if they're not on the same thing, like I read in the Walmart way, if they don't mesh with your message, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
They're not and then as an employer, you realize that you're like, okay, they don't value the job. Maybe there's something I could do to make it better, is kind of learn it, or is this just not for them? Do they not love this?
I could quote somebody, but I'm not going to quote him directly.
Yeah.
But this person said that you put successful people around you, you'll be successful.
Yeah.
You put people that want to bring you down.
No, yeah.
They're gonna
it's
bring
like
you down.
Dan Pena, the $1 trillion man. He's just like, show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Yeah.
Everybody says your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
It's the people you put around. If you put people who don't have ambitions and goals, and
some people are boat anchors, and they want to work with mayhem, and they want to drive you crazy.
They have no ambition. They're gonna talk you out of it more than, and that's what something I think I'm kind of lucky in is I have a lot of friends who don't have the same dreams I do, but they're still supportive and they keep me true to who I am.
And they're all dedicated. Whatever they do, they're dedicated to what they're doing.
That's why we still have that craft, is because it's like, hey, you may not want to open a $1 billion business. You may just want a family and a good job, but we're dedicated to our goal, and we both respect each other and share that common goal. So that's why it works.
Yeah.
Some people don't like that. They're just like, you're trying to do what? Fuck that. What are you out here for? You're not good like that.
Growing up, I didn't diminish what anybody does.
Yeah.
I don't care if you were sweeping the streets. I don't care if you were like splitting an atom. I didn't diminish anything the person did. That's what they did.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is a lot of people envy other people for being wealthy. Like, you're millionaires, you're billionaires, and this guy's got plenty of money. I don't care how they got it.
Yeah.
It's theirs.
Yeah.
As
long as you earned it yourself, that's what it is.
It's it, but it's theirs.
Yeah.
It's that's the problem. Everybody, look at this guy. He's loaded. He's got plenty of money. I don't.
But you don't see how hard it was for him to get that. Exactly.
And you don't know what that person did. Yeah, maybe their father was rich and took care of them.
Yeah.
But don't hate them. Be happy for them that they had somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
That could do that for them.
You could still do that too.
Yeah,
everybody thinks, I wish I could do that.
But that's
they can if they want to.
That's the
they really don't. They're not willing to.
People hate millionaires. They hate the billionaires. They hate the. Listen. You could change your position. You could do something else. You can get better educated.
It's tough, but you could do it.
You could do whatever you need to do to try to help your situation. Don't sit idly by and wait for somebody else to hand it to you.
Yeah.
You got to get out there. You want to do things in this world. You got to get out there and make it happen for yourself. That's the way we grew up. That's the way we were brought up. Again, my views might not equal somebody else's. They might think I'm, fucked up for saying the things I do, but that's just the way I was raised.
I agree with that.
But that was the way I was raised at my time.
Yeah.
There's other opportunities and other things for people to do nowadays, which is fine. But that's just the way I was raised, and I don't push my values on anybody else. And
exactly.
And if you don't think the way I think, I don't, give a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
You think your way, and you want to go your route, and hopefully it works for you, and
exactly.
Everybody's gonna be happy and content in their own heads, in their own skin.
They got to figure out what they want.
If they're not happy and content, then nothing.
You got to make a change.
Nothing will ever be right.
Yeah.
Everything they do will be wrong. Every job will be wrong. Every position will be wrong. And I get it. Hey, listen, you want to go be a cook for 6 months, and shit, I don't want to do this ever again.
Okay. Switch it up. Change it.
Switch it up. Don't stay there for another 5 years and being pissed off at the world.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, exactly.
And the only reason why I use that analogy is because I had guys that worked for me that cooked. I had guys that
and
worked
that was
for
kind of like me with Target too. Like
pizza guys that work. Listen, it was your aspiration to be the guy. Listen, I'm looking for somebody to fill that position.
Yeah.
If you're not happy with doing that position, then don't do it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Don't take that out on me.
Don't come here and make me be the bad guy that I gave you a job.
Yeah.
That's
I'm sure there's things that even from like any employer standpoint that you could always do. If your employee is unhappy, I'm sure there's things that could be done better by the employer. But if the person and even if the employer or the employee or whoever's doing whatever job they're doing, if they're not passionate about it, if they hate it with a passion, or they don't even really like it that much, you're not gonna be happy with it. You're not gonna be, and it sucks. There's sometimes like you have to get through, just do stuff to do it. Maybe you gotta work somewhere for a couple of years to put your foot in the door. Maybe like you said, where I have a family and I want to do these bigger dreams, but I gotta take care of my family. Okay, well maybe you start small, but it's also then don't be angry or upset about it, because you have control of your life.
Yep.
There's the reason why you're in your situation, maybe not initially, but towards the end of your life, is because you put yourself there. And in the same token, you could change your life like on a whim. Yep. Tomorrow you can wake up and say, I don't want to do this, I want to be this, I want to do that. What do I have to do now? Let me set a plan. Let me start doing something.
The biggest thing Raphael told me too was, when we talked, never shit on anybody on your way to where you're going.
Yeah.
Never treat anybody any less. Never fucking.
Because nobody's ever better than anybody else.
Yeah, don't fuck anybody over on the way over. Okay, to where you are, and don't screw anybody on the way up the ladder, because you're gonna pass them on the way down.
Yeah,
sometimes.
for sure.
And just try to do right by everybody that you can. That's willing to be done right by.
Yeah.
You got the clingers and the hangers-on that just want to fuck people over, and that's their goal in life. You know what I mean? My words of wisdom are, just do what you want to do, and just don't piss on anybody and piss anybody off on the way. You can't make everybody happy.
Yeah.
You can't make everybody.
Don't go out of your way to hurt somebody.
You know what I mean? But just don't go out of your way, because you want to at least leave that legacy in life that everybody says, you know what, that guy's a good guy. If you got one in 100 that says you're a piece of shit, oh well.
Yeah, exactly.
Then that person's they probably got some issues too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's fair, and I think that's a lot of like what I try and do it too. Is just like I know a lot of people don't necessarily agree to the way I feel about things or however, but no matter what whatever you do, whatever's going on, however you set it up, I always try and respect, and then I feel a very open-minded person when it comes to all that, is because I may have an opinion, but, somebody may have a differing opinion or want to do something different, and you learn it, and you change a little and you get better with that. And that's the same thing, like you just said, don't, fuck them over, don't do that because somebody's different, or somebody has, the whole thing is like, I remember being younger, a lot of people tell you, oh, business people step on people's necks, blah, blah, blah. And my whole thing is like, well, regardless of whatever traditional people do, my thing is, when I go into business and I do entrepreneur, I want to do it right. I'm doing it to help people and do stuff like that and make the world a better place than when I left it.
Listen,
I'm not going to go out of my way to hurt somebody.
You got to put your head on the pillow every night.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I'm not going to...
and you try to, like, do unto others as they do unto you, and you try to be...
if somebody hurts you, you deal with it and you kind of walk away.
Yeah, sometimes the best thing to do is to pull the trigger. Just walk away, take that
sometimes
person out of your life, and don't have that person around you. I had that happen in the restaurant specifically, and there's guys I should have fired. There's guys we should have let go. But the flip side was, you gotta look at it from the other side and say, okay, then I gotta fill in for this person every night. So that means for the next month, 2 months, whatever, I don't have anybody.
Yeah.
That means I lose my time.
And you having a family and stuff, that being a priority.
I'm working harder.
Yeah.
So then you gotta suck it up a little bit and deal with that asshole and deal with that piece of crap
Yeah.
and just keep them around because, you still have some continuity, you still got some sort of life, you still got some sort of things to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, and again, being in a partnership, you should hope that partner would be step in and help you out because they see you doing more. Again, that's
everybody has to do more. Yeah.
You got that's what was my case. That's what our issues were. But I'm glad that we, I could talk and give you like things from my experience. And again, I'm not writing a book. I didn't write a book on this and that and just say, hey, follow my direction to everybody. I do that to you and your brother. I try to instill what knowledge I have.
Yeah.
You take away from it whatever you guys want to take away from it.
Yeah.
If I could help in any way, shape, or form, teach you a trade, teach you to do something, teach you what I do, mechanics, cars, this, that, flooring, whatever I am, proficient at. That's what I try to do and try to, instill.
Right.
I don't want anybody to think, when they watch a video to say, this guy's trying to bullshit this guy.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Listen, you can do whatever you want in life.
Yeah.
This is just my view.
And that's a lot of what I feel the channel is and all that stuff with it in general is I came across this information and originally I set it up for everybody. I was just like, oh, you could do this. It's not easy, but you could do this and you could be somewhere infinitely better in life, to where you dream. And I kind of thought I would take that, go out in the world and be like, look, and everybody would be like, oh my God, I didn't know that. I then realized it took me a little bit of time that people know kind of sort of that that's what they could do. It's just some people don't have the ambition or the dream or want to do that or something. Sure. I was just like, oh, this is something that I now could do and give to people who would look for that information or people who may not know it but would be interested in that. Some people are just like, that has no interest to me. That has, I think you're wrong, or I'm not willing to work that hard for it, or yeah, I think that's a great idea, but maybe not.
The ones that
it's not for everybody. From it.
Yeah. The ones that think they're entitled. Unfortunately, there's people.
Well, not even that. Just some people who say
there's a sense of entitlement in this world that some people think they can.
There's
they're gonna have everything.
There's a degree to that, but also some people who are just like, oh, like I thought everybody had the same idea, the willingness to work hard, the dream that I did, and some people are completely different. Some people do, but aren't willing to work hard for it. Some people are willing to work hard, but their dream is completely different. Maybe they're just like, I want to be the best.
And it don't make them a bad person.
Well, they're just different.
That's their view.
But that's also then when I kind of started to tailor the channel more towards people with the same idea of, oh, hey, I want to achieve some greatness. I want to help people live a life of service and adventure and really do it. And then I said, okay, I know the building blocks on how to do that while I'm working my way up. Let me give that to them. Sure. People who are ahead of me, I'm sure, can give me information and make me better. People who are at the same level, I'm sure would be interested in hearing my notes on and comparing notes. People who are just getting started, here's what I've done the past three years and what I've learned from other people, yourself, other people, some people who own billion-dollar companies, great people to do stuff. Here's the consensus of things that you could avoid now that you're starting out or you're at a low point, and that you're trying to work your way to that thing. And that's like the same thing. It's just like that's the way I progress it is people who feel that, hey, I want this dream, this is what I want to do, I eat, sleep, breathe this kind of thing like I do. That's what I made it for now. that's where the information is. People who want that, and I think that's that's kind of the goal for it. Well, I have just a couple questions, or a few questions. I know that we're kind of like nearing the end of it. This is mainly for the TikTok part of it, because the TikTok portion. So something with your expertise and your knowledge and your life information. I was curious to hear, what is the greatest weakness that you have that you're proud of? If you understand, like, to give you examples, say some people who are like, I am willing to work ridiculously hard at something and not outsource it to somebody else. It's just like that's something you're proud of is because of work ethic, but also may hinder you because you're willing to take all the load on you and not have to learn something.
That's basically, being a family, that we workaholics.
Yeah.
I take a lot of responsibility on me.
Yeah.
And try to hold the weight on my shoulders, like you said.
Yeah.
And that's one of them that, now at my current position at work, everybody has their job to do.
Yeah.
Step in, help them out, allow them to succeed, but make sure you give them the roots, and make sure you give them the tools to succeed in that position. Not everybody is going to succeed in that position, then you make a tough call, but that's part of it. That would be my biggest thing, is allowing people to do things, because I've been, in my field and in my life, I've had depend on people, and you can't. I've had bad runs of guys.
Right. So you've had a poor experience, and then you learn from. Yeah.
I've had helpers in the flooring business. I've had guys that work in the restaurant. I've had that just shit the bed and didn't show up and do what they were supposed to do.
Yeah. Now, is there something that you feel within that same kind of thing? Because something I know of, like, that I learned from a lot of people, and something that I learned in, like, the book The Walmart Way that really opened my eyes is a great leader finds great people, gives them all the tools they need to succeed, and then gets the fuck out of their way. I know a lot of people at everywhere will say, hey, I found someone really great, but then I'm going to do this. Do you now, looking back, think, oh, hey, maybe, especially you're saying you were willing to take charge on it, do you look back and say, oh, hey, maybe I didn't let this person do what they needed to, and I was like, oh, you got to do it this way, exactly the way I would do it? Or do you think that it was just, maybe you weren't in the right, you didn't have enough knowledge to hire the great people for the job?
But you know what? I think the people that worked in my business when we had our restaurant and I was more enabling them to succeed than, I gave them plenty of chances.
Yeah. Just kind of like, I want you to do it.
I had a helper, I had another van, I had everything set up for him. He was ready to go out and work, and he just couldn't beat drugs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he just couldn't get off drugs, and I felt for him and his family. You know what I mean? His wife happened to be really nice friends with your mom, and I was like, listen, get clean. I've got a truck, tools. You can go out, you can make double what you make a week. Yeah, I'll put you in a helper. You go out, you do it. I can go out, sell the jobs. It gives me more time. It gives me, and just couldn't get it free. So I severed the tie, and then I got somebody else to fill the position, and that person was better.
Yeah.
That person was better. That person was able to fill the position, and that person was able to do everything that I expected him to do.
Right.
So I had to make a change. And I'm sure there's other people that felt that, that I was enabling them to do well, and had them rely upon me a little too much.
Yeah.
But until they prove themselves to me that they can handle themselves, that's
right. So it's like almost like a mix. Like you can't help somebody who doesn't want to help themselves.
Yeah, I would say I never held anybody back.
Yeah.
I'd love to see somebody succeed and do more, because that means I have to do less.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and that's kind of that's the kind of like my takeaway from it. That would be
I don't aspire to do their job in mine. So what do I need you for?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So you want them to do the job the way you feel is good for it, but in the same token too, you also didn't hire the person who matched that value of, oh, hey, I want to do this. Their ambitions lied elsewhere, unfortunately, with drugs and all that stuff. Which is, and I feel that's a thing a lot of people fall into that kind of pitfall, is people hire maybe great people to do something like that. Like, I'm sure he was a great guy, but he wasn't a great guy for the ambition you wanted. Like, I'm sure he could do his job very well, but he didn't have that upper motivation to do more.
His time with me was stressful. When he was gone out of the situation, then you see the forest for the trees. Yeah. Then you see that, hey, this guy gave me a lot of stress, a lot of aggravation. Yeah. I worked around his problems, and you say to yourself,
you want something done a certain way, and it wouldn't.
I enabled him
go that way as well, to
work every day. I enabled him to do it. And then in some situations, people might say, hey, they held me back because they didn't let me recognize my potential.
Yeah.
In my case, I haven't had anybody in that position in my personal dealings.
Yeah. At least have said anything about it.
Yeah, at least, because if they've come and gone, I would hope they went somewhere and bettered themselves.
Yeah.
And for most cases, no. So,
Yeah.
I'm trying, like I said, I would try to help them exceed and succeed.
Yeah.
Like
in a way that you felt was...
Yeah, listen.
That's fair.
Yeah, listen, I trained you for 5 years and you were working for me in the restaurant. You were a cook and then you left me and you went to become the next Guy Fieri or, the next, Julia Child or,
right.
Betty Crocker and, you wanted to become the best.
But some people didn't have that ambition.
No.
So when you're like, hey, I want you to do this, they were kind of like, no, I don't, because I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I don't want
so therefore I can't meet that expectation,
Correct.
nor do I match with your value. And
Correct.
I get that. And that's, I think, something that
Yeah.
I learned from a lot of leadership stuff is you have to find somebody who vibes with your message, and then also you have to take a step back, because that person, then you'll have that trust with them. I think that the portion is because you're like, oh, I don't think he's going to do the job the way I want him to, so therefore I'm putting that weight on him. And that's because he doesn't vibe with that message.
Yep.
If you found somebody who wanted to do something the same way you did and had that ambition, you'd be like, okay, cool, I'm going to let them do their thing. So I think that's an important thing for leadership to do. What moment 20 years from now do you think you'll be most proud of? Like 20 years from now, what do you think that you'll look back in just your life and be like, wow, I was very proud of that?
I think, to be honest with you, the biggest thing I'll see back and you want to look back at is, my family, my children, you, your brother, your mom, my marriage, my life, and just say, you know what, regardless of anything that was around, my kids are okay, my wife's okay, I'm okay, I have a retirement, hopefully in 20 years.
Right.
I can sit back and enjoy grandkids and, whatever it takes us, wherever
life
goes,
takes you, yeah.
whatever it looks like. And know that, hey, we gave you guys the tools, we put you kids to task and to do what you needed to do in life, and hopefully you're going to be somewhere where you can be settled and happy and that would be, it doesn't mean so much as money. I'd love to leave a legacy behind and have you and your brother never have to work a day in your life, and maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't be.
Right.
Okay, but that's, you want to just see that you guys are truly happy with your lives. Like I said, it might be marriage, might be kids, might be dogs, might be raising monkeys. Whatever it is.
Right.
What I mean? Just that, seeing ultimately your kids be happy in their lives. And being around friends and being, that type of thing.
That family aspect.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's great. I think that's very, very noble, very honorable thing to do is that, because,
But that's the way we were brought up.
Yeah. And that's also it's the same in your value and what you would steal from your family.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people who I would sure have that as well. Other people would have different things for it.
Yep.
But I think that's, ultimately...
And again, it's from where we came from. It's having mom and dad. Dad went to work. Mom stayed home, took care of the kids. That's just the way it was back then.
Yeah.
Just, being around and being, more prominent in people's lives. And not everybody has that situation. And you can't, hate them for it. You can't just, my life is, you want to see where your kids are. You want to see everybody, you want to grow old and, I guess you pass on knowing that you left your kids in good shape, and they're going to keep your history and
you
your
did
memory.
what you could, and you did everything.
You did everything you could in life to make sure that you instilled common good on, to your family.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's great. What would you say is the greatest professional or business failure that you had, and what is something that you learned from it?
I wouldn't call it a failure. I would say, the restaurant would be not a failure. It would just be, I would call it a failure in planning, because I should have planned out more of who I was working with.
Right.
Should have planned out more who we were dealing with. We jumped in with nothing and started out with nothing because the place was run down. The place was, needed everything, needed air conditioning, was friggin' bug infested from the old owners.
Right.
It was just, and they were, they just left us in a bad spot. Ovens were broke, this was broke, we had to throw out this, change that. I wish I would have, that was my biggest thing was, I listened to my partner. No, everything's good, everything's great, everything's this, everything's that, because his lack thereof knowledge of doing it.
Yeah.
And I should have checked it out. I should have put some more time. So my words to anybody is, if you're going to buy a business or get into something, work with that place.
Do your research.
Do your research. Go there. That was my biggest thing. I listened to somebody that we thought was a friend, and found out that things were not always painted the pictures they were supposed to be.
Right, that's fair.
And it's my own fault, for listening. I should have took the precaution, but you know what? You live and learn.
Yeah, and I think that's like something I know Warren Buffett says is just like, don't test the water with both feet. And that's like something I'm big into. Like anytime I learn something, I'll go for it. But I also like it gets to, there's a level of like, I'm not going to wait until it's perfect, because nothing can ever be perfect. But I will definitely, in the same token, like, check things out, and that's maybe potentially something I could have learned from the restaurant. And then in addition to everybody who's said it, all these successful people in like these billion-dollar companies and like Steve Jobs type people, is failing to plan is planning to fail. It's like, I will go to the point of, okay, you got to make this decision now, prepping and knowing and doing something. Like if I'm getting into something, I'm gonna know about it. Like I always look into stuff, anything from beach house to cars to this, that. I'll learn it.
And you can research the shit out of it. But
I'll take my tools and do it.
Interject human factor.
Yeah.
And you don't know sometimes where it's gonna go.
It takes some, and then until it's okay, now I gotta make a decision. I gotta jump into it. Now's the time to do it. Okay, I feel comfortable jumping into it. Yeah. Or oh hey, I really don't like this from what I know of. That's like anything, like I'll talk about any investments, any weight loss stuff. Anytime somebody talks about new diets or new investment ventures or anything, I do a lot of research into it and finding it, not to the point of which I read it ad nauseum and miss the opportunity, but enough to know, okay, this doesn't sit right with me, I'm not going to do it. Or, okay, I know about this, I'm confident in the subject, now I'm confident in the speciality. Like, I've learned to do brakes in the Corvette. I knew I could have been a brake expert and done it myself, but then I also knew enough to know that paying $100 for somebody else to do is probably a really smart idea. Yeah. It's that knowing of, oh, hey, I know enough to know I don't know everything.
Yeah.
It's finding that hard spot. Especially then when you've never done something before.
And again, it's
you didn't trust but verify.
Exactly.
You trusted him, say, hey, go for it. But again, in the same thing, like it wasn't the right person for that portion of it. So you're just like, oh, okay, and it's picking that person was the issue for it.
Sure.
What is one project that you like to do that you haven't yet? It could be really anything, professionally, house, anything. What's something that you haven't done yet?
Well, I try to do everything I set my sights on. Try not to take on something too big within reality's sake. So anything I've wanted to do, I've done for the most part.
Right.
I want to do something in the yard. I want to do something in the house. I want to do a project. I've done cars. You know what I mean? I've done all kinds of stuff, and I've done them and learned and had fun doing it, and that's it. I think every project I really set out to do, we do. I try to tackle everything and put my goal on it. Even financially, you try to fit it in, and try to do it within reason.
Right. Is there professionally like a project you want to do? Like, oh, I want to build XYZ side business, or maybe in your job, like, oh, there's this thing I know, when I retire from here, I would want to achieve this.
Right now, no.
No, okay.
Right now, I am where I need to be at this point in time, and yes, I do see, as far as work, future growth, future positions, I see room for improvement.
Right.
If I want to change, I could grow in it. I'm not stuck in a position where, okay, this is my ceiling, this is where I'm at. My previous, company, that's where I was at.
Right.
I reached here, he was here, my boss, and, that's it. I couldn't go any further.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I couldn't go any further, couldn't try anything else new unless I had left and went to a different branch and moved my family and did stuff. I think, where I'm at is a good thing. Like I said, any project, me, I'm on it. As long as I can afford it, it gets done.
Yeah.
If I have to put it off because you can't afford it, that's, it's part of life, anything else as far as, other projects and stuff, I think I'm good right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there, so now, like, does having a family motivate you to work harder because of it, or does it motivate you to, say, take more time off for it? Like, so kind of what I mean is, does it motivate you to, like, okay, I have a family, so now I now need to do 10 times what I need to do in order to get them to where I want to be? Or does it motivate you to say, okay, I now need to take a break and go back and make sure I'm spending time with them and doing stuff with them?
I think it's both. It motivates me to work hard because I'd like to have the money to have the time to do more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe it's a staycation, maybe sit in the pool for a couple hours, go to the movies, you know, go outside and play wiffle ball, go to the bowling alley, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, you know.
Right.
You know, I look at it this way. You know, there's things we couldn't do growing up because you couldn't afford it. And if I could do more now and have fun, you know, spending time with everybody is the key thing. Spending time. You know, getting set up to spend that time and to afford the better, you know, I've learned that, hey, I keep putting it off. But I want to go to Rome. I'm just using an example. You know, it's going to cost us $10,000 for this trip. It'll keep getting put off forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to set your sights to something that's more manageable. You know, great, I'd like to go to Rome one day, but you know what, maybe I could go to Disney this year. Maybe I could go to here this year. Maybe we could take a trip up here this year.
Yeah. And then save and then build into a bigger goal.
And then, you know, milestones and get to certain things and say, this is my goal. So maybe they call it the bucket list. In my bucket list, I want to go here and travel here and do this and do that. And whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but I think right now everything is, you know, I set goals for us. You know, my main concern is to make sure I could, you know, I feed my family and, you know, I look at things a little differently. So.
Right. No, that's fair. And I know that's something like I agree to like a portion of it, at least what you're saying for it, is that I know that like, you know, building those smaller goals, like especially like losing a lot of weight and doing stuff, you have to set those small goals to build into those bigger goals. But then I think also for, at least for me, what I talk to a lot of people about is if it's something you really want, like I know Rome would be a fun thing, I'm just throwing that out there, but let's just say that I was like your dream to go to Rome. My whole thing with that would be, okay, build up smaller goals working into that, but don't take forever. Because I know, you know, I left Target, there were some people who were later on in their years and they're just like, oh, there's half the world I haven't seen yet. It's just like, well, you got to start living. You got to get going on it, you know? You know, I'm not saying, you know, you could start at whatever age, you could be 80 and build a multi-billion-dollar business, you could be 80 and start a family or whatever. You know, it's never too late to do something, but it's also, you need to use that time wisely. Mm-hmm. So at least that's my vision on it. And what I kind of talk about a lot is like, work towards those bigger goals, but don't procrastinate on it. Like you have time, but don't dilly-dally, essentially. Oh, no. Yeah. It's like make sure you're working towards it, but don't kill yourself being like, oh, hey, I'm never going to reach this. I'm only at step one.
Sometimes you have to change that.
Yeah, I think definitely things alter and change. Like my big thing was to go to NYU and this, that, and I realized me as a person.
Put things in different perspectives.
Yeah.
That's all.
I had a different life experience, and I think if I would have done that, I would have been less happy than I am now. You know, I would have been probably in a completely different situation. Maybe I would have been happy, but I know me as a person of who I am right now, that's what I was, you know, this now what I'm doing and what I like. So I think as you grow and progress, of course, those things change. I think the core value changes, like your thing is, you know, family and this and stuff.
You're going to change your mind, you're going to change things as days go by and years go by, and you'll change your outlook, you'll change, you know, maybe where you want to go, what you want to do, and, you know, till you get comfortable.
Yeah, to a degree. I think also it's like a core thing, like your thing is I want to make sure family's taken care of. I want to make sure. I don't think that would change. I think the way you do it would change. Like my thing is I want to leave the world better than when I came into it. Sure. I want to make something big and have that freedom to really and truly. I want to be able to say I really help people.
Yeah, you want to leave your footprint.
Yeah, and I think that I don't think will ever change, but I think the way I do it. So like say 2 years from now I may end up meeting a great person who is in the water industry, and then I do that by giving everybody free water. You know, I'm just saying, maybe not through necessarily YouTube or something like that, teaching people. Yeah. But I think the core value, I think, is something that definitely stays the same, and the way of going about it would change. Yeah. At what point did you realize like how far you've come from where you started? Was there like a moment where you were like, wow, like you maybe was sitting down one day, maybe at Christmas or something, whatever, and you're just like, fuck, like I'm somewhere completely different from where I started. Like I would have never thought life would have took me to this now.
I didn't venture far off the path.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't venture far off the path. I like to try other stuff. I've had other businesses that I've tried. Mm-hmm. But I've always stayed true to what I've done.
Yeah.
Flooring business is what we've done, and that's in my blood for, since I, can remember.
Yeah.
I stayed true to what I did. I tried to venture off, start this little business, maybe have this little business, and if that kicked up, and I can make some extra money along with that, you're always looking to do something.
Yeah.
But now, different focus, different plans.
Right. And do you think that's a positive for it? Like, would you wish you'd ventured more off the path? Or do you think just you as a person is just like, this is, I know, something that I like and makes me happy?
I think safely I ventured up the path as far as I could.
Yeah. That you're comfortable with?
That I'm
or?
comfortable with to not jeopardize my family or my well-being.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I said, and especially like me being in a different age and a different mindset of it. Like, my whole thing is just like, I'd live in a van if I had to do the things that I love. Yours is a different, you have a different goal. Like I said, that's that white picket fence kind of thing. That's like, that's your goal. That's what you love.
I've also got, 30 years, you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying, yeah. You've had that experience and said, yeah.
That, I've been there, done that, and I can speak from that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And this is where you want to be is with the family.
If I was your age and we were having this conversation, I probably may have the same exact views you have.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Because you're not looking at it in that perspective.
Yeah. That's fair. And I think also it's just, different people of it too. It's just like you grew up with that. That was your thing in life, was that. And mine is something a little different from it. So I'm just saying it's interesting how, even within the same family, just these two not completely different viewpoints, but this different way of going about it.
Sure.
Which I think is really cool how just, that could just kind of work. People just change and even in a small setting, just branch out. And then one piece of advice that you give, younger entrepreneurs or business professionals, especially even though now that, you maybe don't own your own restaurant or something, you're still in a business professional world, or even from an entrepreneurial standpoint, what is something that you would give to younger people just starting out? Like, what's that core advice that, like, this is the thing?
I would say commit to what you're going to do.
Commit to what you're going to do.
All right, commit wholeheartedly, dive in. If you want it to be what you want to do, just commit.
Yeah, just do it.
You can't have your toe in the water. You can't have your foot in the water. You got to dive in feet first.
As long as it's something that you love, you're saying.
As long if that's what you want and that's what your goal is, try new things. Hey, listen, not everybody has their mindset.
Right.
A lot of guys your age and a lot of girls your age will come out of school and they might want to do this, they might want to do that. I hear your friends changing their majors every day.
Right.
So you know what I mean. So I would say if that's what you're going to do, commit to it. If you like it, stay. If you don't, move on. Now's the time to make mistakes. Yeah. Your age is now the time to make mistakes, especially unless you start families early and things happen and
gets a little tougher.
That's a little different.
Yeah.
But I would say commit.
That's awesome. What is like, how passionate are you about the industry that you're in? I know since you were younger, you were in.
Oh, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound.
Right.
I'm in it. I'm in it to do the best I can and to grow in my position.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm in a company that I can do that. I'm not stale. I can use my knowledge and train others, teach others, and I can also grow and get stronger in my position.
Right.
I'm doing it. That's it. This is what I do.
Right. Yeah. Is there any other job in a different industry, like maybe from when you were growing up to now, or something you wanted to try that you would want to do?
Like I said, I tried the food business. I tried. I had a deli at one time. We tried that, and then we tried the restaurant. And again, I had things 5, 6 years, 7 years. And along with my other business.
Right.
But it becomes too much.
Yeah.
You can become too reliant on people. You hire, you fire, you train. You hire, you fire, you train, and it becomes after a while it becomes a burden.
Right.
So
okay.
After a while you say to yourself, you know what? I tried it. It was worth a shot.
Yeah.
I'm young enough. I can rebound.
Right.
I lost some time. Maybe I lost some money. But I tried it.
You learned something, and you had that story now, that experience from it.
A lot of people live in regret too. I should have did this when I was younger. I should have did that when I was younger. I should have jumped off the out of a plane and skydived. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
You say, so I should have did this, and you live in regret.
Yeah.
I try not to live in regret. I just say I tried something. If it shit the bed, great. If it didn't, great.
Right.
I'd still be doing it. So.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's again a big thing with me when I made this, making a lot of decisions is I don't want to be 90, 100, whatever, and say, okay, I wish I would have done something. Like, fuck it. If I do something and it fails miserably, like explodes in my face, well, guess what? I learned something amazing. I had a great fucking time doing it. As long as it's something I'm passionate about, I loved it. And now I got a story, and then you're not starting from square one. You're starting with all that you brought with you. I brought that information. I brought that contacts. I brought that knowledge and all that.
You're doing all the fundamentals, and now you know if you ever have an issue with that type of thing,
Yeah.
whatever that business
You grow,
was,
and that's how you learn.
You already knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried this. It wasn't for me. This is why it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
You know, maybe next time, you know, maybe other people have gotten together. There's plenty of successful partners in the food business that got together and have,
Right.
50 restaurants.
Yeah.
You know, they're business partners that started out in owning, McDonald's or owning Burger King and, getting together, and then one broke off and one did something else and the other one became a billionaire.
Yeah.
Shit happens. You know what I mean? That's just some success stories. But, again, you don't know till you try.
Yeah, you don't know until you give it that shot. Yeah. And finally, what is like your big life goal now? Having experienced everything that you've experienced, where you think you're gonna go, everything. What is one thing that you're just like, I want to do this, or leave the world with this, or family, or whatever?
I'd love to leave the world, leave my friends, leave my family. If one, with the memory of, the fun and the good times we had, and I know I'm not going to cure cancer. I know I'm not going to give, the world a fountain of youth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I just want to, everybody say, holy shit, Joe's not here. He was a good friend. He was, such stuff that you can wholeheartedly control that anybody control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anybody could do that. Be a good friend. Everybody could be a good father. Anybody could be a good mom. Anybody, you want to say, to be missed by one person and be impactful to one person in life.
Right.
Okay, and if you've done right by at least one person in your life, I think it's a success.
Yeah. You want to leave them with that love and that memory.
That's it.
That's awesome. All right, so that's everything. We appreciate having you on the podcast.
That's great. I'd love to come back. If you have me back, that'd be great.
Absolutely. I think it was a very good first episode. Very, very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
I learned things that I didn't know before. You gave me new opportunities, new stuff that I'm just now thinking of.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate being here. I'd love to come back on and tell some stories one day.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell you about growing up and how we grew up, and and tell you some good fun stuff.
All right, absolutely.
All right.
That'd be cool. Thank you. Well, thank you for coming in.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely, thank you.
And I look forward to doing this again.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you everybody for watching. We hope this is great. We're going to get into it. We're trying to do a lot more episodes. Maybe not be a set date kind of thing, but it'll be definitely a consistent getting people in who, I'm very interested in their opinions, very interested in just everything in general, and trying to educate or show people or share stories, just really give people something that, from a unique point of view. So if you guys like this podcast, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow whatever platform this is going to be on. And let me know if you guys have any questions for Dad or anything. I'll be sure to pass them along. So, yeah, I think it was pretty great.
Thank you. I enjoyed being here, and good night.
Thank you, everybody. Peace.